Okay, this is the end. Oh, ho. As of late, the days have been shorter and colder, and so I once again find myself spending more time inside, basking in the comfort of the hearth when I had the luxury of staying in such a dwelling, that is. This also means I once again have more time to sit down and catch up with my notations. I have somewhat neglected my diary duties over the past year. After concluding my memoirs, I found myself once again slipping into inconsistency, reassuring myself that I will surely just remember the important events upon my travels and recount them later on. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. Aunt Aurora, for one, would be most displeased with this lackadaisical approach. She always used to underline the importance of consistency, even when one didn't feel like doing something. Actually, especially when one didn't feel like it. I recall her stating that we cannot rely on motivation alone to get us through the tough times. We need unwavering commitment. Only commitment ensures consistency. I mean, I can't fault her logic. Regardless, as of right now, duty does not guide my hand. Motivation does. I can just picture Aurora's sullen glare judging me from across the continent. I am inspired to write because I believe the predicament I currently find myself in simply calls for documentation. It appears to be an important affair. Well, it is curious at the very least, and, dare I say, nefarious at worst, and I truly suspect the worst. It seems the general attitude towards mages has shifted, and not for the better. A couple of months back I was turned away from a village by a hostile and rather rude alderman. "We nay want your wicked kind here. Begone! Begone!" He had shrieked at me before launching a glob of phlegm in my general direction. It was the first time since setting off from Aretuza that I had come across such animosity, and, unfortunately, it was not the last. Many other rural communities shunned me, even towns I'd previously visited. I'd built relations and formed friendships outright refused their usual hospitality. Something, evidently, was amiss. A few days back, however, I had the good fortune to run into a fellow traveller on the road. A young bard. She was, and curiously seemed to be afflicted by some sort of strange hex. Or it was some sort of silly lark and she was merely jesting with me. She claimed she couldn't utter a single word without bursting into song and rhyme, and after listening to her bellow out stanza after stanza, I believed her plight to be real. Surely no one would keep that up if they didn't have to. Anyway, we travelled together for a day. She was on her way to meet a friend who she was sure could help lift her choral curse. And during our time together, she sang about the events she had witnessed in a nearby town the previous week. The town was in uproar, emotions began to swell. A fawn they had found, slaughtered upon a well. Its innards lay asunder, its eyes gouged right out. A ritual of evil, there had truly been no doubt. Yet, lucky they were, for specialists soon did come. We'll find the vile culprit, and shan't leave till it's done. So they searched most thorough, upon high, upon low, and eventually they found the source of their woe. A witch they unearthed, her purpose most wicked. Where nowhere left to run, the wench soon submitted. Then a pyre they did build to burn her body alive. Job done, they claimed the coin, and left as swift as they'd arrived. I may have paraphrased that somewhat, because I'm no poet, but the general gist remains the same. In my years, I'd certainly heard tales of mages corrupted by power, or just indifference to the suffering of others, engaging in morally dubious acts, and yes, I've heard tales of innocent folk being hurt during such pursuits. But this was different. The troubadour told me she had heard many other stories of wicked witches, and even went so far as to describe the situation as an apparent scourge. Of course, I don't believe it. Not for a second. And neither did she, for that matter. Something, I fear, is terribly wrong with this scene. Mages just don't turn evil en masse. Heck, there aren't even enough mages across the Northern Realms to populate such widespread reports, especially out here in the countryside. And so, I decided to investigate the matter, for it's most certainly worth investigating. Thus far, I don't have much to go on, and due to the circumstances, many folks are, as you can imagine, somewhat uncooperative. But I do have a lead, a name that the bard mentioned, and a name that I have heard talk of in a few taverns I have been fortunate enough to secure lodgings in. It's a name that I'm sure will lead me to the source of this strange phenomenon. At the very least, it's something tangible that I can pursue. The name, so it goes, is Hale. Oh! And I believe that is the end of the story of Alissa, or rather, I guess, the beginning of the story of Alissa as we know it. So the song here, or the poem, this is talking about the scoundrel when he places the goat across the well. And obviously what's happening here is the witch hunters are basically framing mages, I assume, from what I understand, and then killing them and claiming the coins, spreading the rumours. And this is obviously why she then takes aim at the Hales, as you can see in her Gwent card. Yeah, it's not... So, if I... So if we go to Alissa Henson here, you can see you either die a hero or live long enough to be exposed as a villain. Well, that is Alissa, and she has the Hales there. That is the Brute chained. That is Octavia Hale in the stocks. And I believe she's actually killed the scoundrel at this point. So the Hale family certainly garner her wrath. The Hale family here. So you can see... actually, if I go to her, you can see them all here. So you can see the scoundrel here. That's actually the goat in the scoundrel card here. Yeah, maybe Fabian was hanging in the background. So this is Fabian Hale, this is Ignatius Hale, but the scoundrel and the brute are the two of them. So Fabian Hale is the scoundrel, Ignatius Hale is the brute, and obviously their mother is Octavia Hale, the Witchfinder. Or so she claims, the Witchfinder. Woe to all those who find themselves on the wrong side of Octavia Hale, the self-proclaimed, world-renowned finder and punisher of witches, warlocks, and were-things. Well, she didn't know quite what she was coming up against in Alissa, did she? Oh, I love journey stories. I really do. That one was fantastic. The writing was really good. It was great to see so much. It always excites me that there's so much more of this story. That obviously that kind of exists in the world or could exist. All of these stories that we've seen, but the Owls are one and this one particularly, you get to the precipice of a story where it's like, and then, and I'd love to see these stories picked up as big quests in like Witcher 4 if it ever becomes a thing, because it's around the same time. So yeah, that I would very much like. It would be really cool, because this is in the same kind of period, right? As the troubadour that she just met is the one with the affliction, I believe, from... Was it from the Alza journey? The troubadour, the singing one that chased, I think I'm right there. But either way, like, it's all clearly... no, sorry, it's Snowdrop, right? That's literally Snowdrop. Yeah, so... Because she was also, a Dwinviandra. That was... So obviously them crossing over, if we could have a Witcher universe game set in this period of time where we could see the rest of this, obviously Alza dealing with V and all of that stuff, as well as then helping deal with... I'm in. I'm so in. What a great tale. What a great story. And I'm really pleased that they took the decision to put journey stories back in. I think they really do add to it. They may not be everybody's cup of tea. Maybe most people just pass over them. I don't know. But I love them. And I hope they continue to make their way in. We have a new journey on Tuesday. I have no idea who it is. I'm hoping for Regis. I'm always hoping for Dandelion, Yaskia, personally. But yeah, very, very big fan. And I can't wait to see what's coming next.